Hello, everybody, and happy Monday to you today. I hope you're having a wonderful start to the beginning of your week. I know it's early in the day, but we're always glad that you tune into Act Three on CHLY 101.7 FM. I'm Kathy Holmes, and today we're going to talk all about crafts with my dear friend, Carol Breitenbach. I hope I got it right this time. I just told her that if I screwed up her name, it was in a very natural part of the show. And it looks like I might have got it right. Right, Carol?
You did.
Oh, thank goodness. Welcome to the program. I'm really glad that you've joined us today. Listen, we've got two things to talk about today. And just for our listeners, I am heading to Halifax this week. Lucky me, I'm very excited about that. While I'm there, I'll be attending the it's a 3 day kind of working towards ending the unhoused population, and so it's all about education and learning, and it's the CAES conference, and so I'm very excited about that. So this recording, Carol, you are going to get two times, right? You'll be with us this week, and for those who are missed any part of it, you can listen to it again on next Monday. I'll hopefully be back in time to listen to it myself. I'll be on the plane, but I certainly look forward to being able to share your information. Carol, I just saw you. You were at the Moose Hall doing one of your wonderful craft exhibits. Why don't you tell us a little bit about what you do, who you are, and why you love what you do?
Thanks for having me join you. I was immensely happy to be able to be part of the market on Saturday at the Moose Hall, which was put on by Volunteer Nanaimo. And through that, I have looked at joining with them to put forward helping out the community and being involved more in some of their programs. And we're going to be doing some joint things going forward. So it's twofold. I always have a passion for getting involved with different projects that are going on around town, and also my passion of creating things that I didn't realize in younger years that I had. So it's been something that has transformed over the years. I originally started out making jewelry out of old silverware.
Oh,
And
wow.
part of the reason for that was I had a piece of my grandparents' old, unique pieces of silverware that I remember being in the drawer all the time. So I turned it into a necklace, and it just reminded me of my grandparents all the time. And I know that they would be very happy of the direction I've gone. So
Wow, what a lovely homage to your grandparents. I would imagine that that medium is a little challenging to work with. How did you turn it? How were you able to turn silver into a necklace?
interestingly, if it is old, authentic silverware, it's
Mhm.
actually very easy to manipulate and turn into something. I look now back at that first piece of jewelry, and it's pretty simplistic. But over time, I've played with different aspects of it, and probably will go back to it. My biggest problem is up in this brain of mine, I seem to have this never ending amount of different things that I want to try and make and do. And it's so interesting when you do tap into it,
Yeah.
inside your own brain, the things that you are capable of. One of the greatest things that I've learned is I would have never thought of myself putting things on canvas, but I'm now doing ink flowers on canvas.
Oh,
And
wow.
yeah, so I've just gotten into that. And so, yeah, jokingly, my kids are always saying, will you just pick one thing and stick with it?
Yeah.
But yeah,
Yeah.
it never seems to happen.
Well, you know what? And I'm glad that it doesn't happen because, to be honest with you, when you get to tap into that creativity, I want to be creative. I have it in my head, but whatever comes out of my head and then comes through my hands, they never ever match.
Yeah,
You know what I
yeah.
mean? Yeah.
Well,
Did that happen for you as well?
it did. I certainly tried lots of things that have been total flops and have kind of gone by the wayside. Um, but I've discovered a whole nother side of myself that I never realized was actually there. So it's been a very interesting journey.
Now, is it something that you did with your kids when they were young, or did this come after the
Oh,
kids were up and gone?
yeah, this came well after the kids
Mm.
were grown and left home. I mean, I always dabbled in things, but I got very involved in it. Um, a couple of sort of traumatic things happened, and that was my way of dealing with it was doing that. And of course, the last few years, it's kind of been a saving grace. I've gotten very into making bracelets and bracelet earring sets with semi-precious stones and doing that kind of thing. And so it's never ending. And of course, I jumped on the gnome bandwagon and have made so many gnomes over the past 3 years that, yeah, it's,
Well, well, good for you. I love gnomes. I'll be honest with you. I think they're the cutest little things, and
oh,
they,
yeah.
I've always said, for those of people who know me, they know I sail, and they know that I brought my boat home a few years back, and I said I will never let my boat be a garden gnome. Well, I'm about to draw some eyes on it and put a beard on it, and just sort of put a little pom pom in it, because it's one of those things that like it didn't wasn't supposed to happen that way, but it's turning more and more into a garden gnome every day. So
Oh,
where
I
do you
love it.
it's funny, actually. I really do think I might just see if I can find a giant, something or other to stick on that nose and give it a face and give it a personality for Christmas this year. How do you find your inspiration? Is there something that comes to you on the wind? Do you have a dream about it? Like different artists find different, things that make them spark. What's yours?
Mine is, excuse me, seems to be that my brain, part of it, my brain never seems to shut off. Um, and I will see something and I will think, oh, that's very unique, but what could I do to make it even more unique and make it something that shows my personality and my quirkiness and things like that? So, um, and of course, it's never ending. The things that you can do and create. And I'm a firm believer that when you're doing things, especially now that I've got into doing the ink flowers on excuse me, on canvas, um, I've discovered there are no mistakes. A couple of times I'd start and I would say, "Oh, I need one more petal here," and it would end up
Right.
being this totally different picture. And I would get upset at the beginning. And then I'd look at it and go, oh, well, if I did this and this and this, it will transform it. So I think if we learn from our mistakes or what appear to be mistakes, we can still create beautiful things from those mistakes.
Isn't that really what life is all about, is making a whole bunch of
Oh,
mistakes and landing? So the fact that it comes out in your jewelry or in your art pieces or, what have you is really, really incredible. And when I saw you this weekend, because I was at the fair, at the Moose
mm-hmm.
Hall, I was really inspired by your table because there's so much, like there's such a variety, like everything from cards to jewelry to the gnomes we just spoke of to your paintings. So and is this a common occurrence for you, or did you just do this for volunteer Nanaimo, or do you regularly go and do these fairs?
I do regularly go and do these fairs, and it's, excuse me, it's interesting that you bring up about all the different things. I actually had a market organizer turn me down because I made too many different things.
Really?
Uh, yes, the comment was that it made it look unprofessional. So I I've taken that and I've kind of made it my stamp of, hey, you can come here and shop from a variety of different prices, a variety of different things. And I have lots of shows that I completely sell out of a lot of items because people look at it and say, wow, I can do one-stop shopping at
Well,
at your booth.
exactly. Like, and whoever said that to you, what a mistake.
Yeah,
Genuinely, what a mistake. Because I did not at all find that to be true. I found that your
yeah,
booth was very refreshing, very easy to see everything, very,
yeah.
very, very well done, in my opinion. Now,
Thank you.
you know, besides the fact that you're my friend and I care about you and I want to support you in any way I can, that's secondary to what this is all about. I mean, the professionalism that I think goes with it. What I love even more though is that you've jumped in to make this not only something that you're doing for the community, as a here's the art that I'm creating, a legacy. You could say for people who have your pieces, but I'm also really inspired by the fact that you're giving some of the money that you make to charity. And in this
Yeah.
case, Volunteer in Nanaimo, you were supporting, but that's not the only one that you're supporting. You and I were talking, we were hoping to get together yesterday, because but you were doing something with the poppy uh, people. So let's dive into that for Remembrance Day. Remembrance Day, of course, is coming up this weekend. What got you involved in working with the poppy? I'm not even sure what it's called. Is it
It,
through the Legion Poppy Foundation, or like what?
yeah.
Help me out here.
It's the Legion. It's the 256 Branch Legion on East Wellington Road, and it's their poppy campaign. It's a national poppy campaign. I got involved with the Legion just over a year ago, um, in honor of my grandparents and some of my uncles that served. And both, they were my mom's side of the family, and my mom's mom and dad um, were both very involved in a Legion in Calgary. And I've always thought once I had the time, I say that tongue in cheek, um, had the time to give back, I wanted to help out and also support the men and women that gave me the freedom I have today. To me, that's very important, and the Poppy campaign is a huge part of that. And with Remembrance Day, it's absolutely incredible. Last year was the first time I have attended a Legion Remembrance Day function, and it was absolutely incredible. They hold an open house all day, starts at 7:30 in the morning. They serve a pancake breakfast. We have a ceremony that happens at the Legion. Then there will be obviously the service downtown, which will be televised for anybody that is not able to be downtown can come to the Legion and watch it there. And we serve a luncheon, and then we have some live music later on in the day. So yeah, it's an amazing time of the year, and I'm just ever so grateful every single day to be able to be part of that and to be able to give back.
Well, especially knowing that your family was so involved in the Legion
Yep.
before, you're really bringing that forward. And, I know that when I see all the little kids around in their uniforms with, selling poppies, but last week I was on the ferry to Vancouver and there was an older gentleman who I don't know if he was from our particular Legion, meaning the local 256, or whether or not, how that worked out. But it was so lovely to see him on the ferry.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
it's amazing seeing how many of them are in uniform at the mall locations, and it's all three branches, because we have three branches of Legion in and around Nanaimo. So it's a very special time of year. It's absolutely incredible to see so many poppies when you're either, the event Saturday. It just warmed my heart seeing how many people were actually wearing poppies.
Well, and I think everybody buys a poppy. It's the one of those.
Yeah.
I buy several of them because I lose them almost as soon as I get them. I know
And
better.
yeah, and well, the great thing is we don't actually sell the poppies. The poppies are by donation,
Of course.
so it makes it such an amazing um idea of, what the poppy fund goes back to helping out veterans and things like that. So I I really and truly do love this time of the year because, like I said, um, I wouldn't have the freedoms to do what I do, and
Yeah.
I I appreciate that every single day.
Well, and especially right now, the world's a bit of a mess. And we
Yeah.
forget, that even though maybe Canadian soldiers are not on the ground right now, and we've always been involved in peacekeeping missions in almost every single war that has been happened. I remember somebody saying to me once, and I don't know if there's any truth. So for all of our listeners, this is a hearsay and not necessarily a fact. So I don't want to make something up. But someone told me many years ago that at any given time, on any given day around the world, there are 32 wars on average. Now, what they're saying though is that, there's always a scrimmage, there's always something, whether or not we hear about it. I was also told that we only really do hear, in international countries, we only hear about these scrimmages when there's something major happening, a larger war like Iraq,
Hmm.
like right now with Ukraine, and around the world, there's so much going on, Palestine, all of that right now, and so we know of the smaller things really very rarely as much as we hear about the large ones. And it's usually there's some kind of, unfortunately, I hate to say it, but there's often very much money involved in it that creates a lot of this pain. Um, it's amazing to me that some of our veterans were so young when they went
Yes.
to service, and that today, there are very few people left who fought during the Second World War. Um, and so that I think that, I'm curious about what happens to the legions now when we see such a change in the way that, and thankfully, and, we're not in war as much, but I'm not even wording it politely. I don't even know how to say it. I just can't stand the idea that we're at war at all.
Mm.
Even though in Canada we're really not. Um, I'm curious about how legions have been able to maintain themselves. Is it real? Is it the poppy, campaign that actually helps keep these organizations afloat, or how is the Legion working now to keep its doors open?
No, it's more about the membership. The membership is what keeps the branches functioning. And interestingly, I had the honor of attending a ceremony with cadets, and I was astounded at the number of them that were together. And my understanding from talking to different people over the last few weeks is that the numbers are going up greatly in our cadets, which to
Wow.
me is a real honor that, this is growing like it is. And the number of younger members that are joining the legions as well. So it's great to see because I feel that when we do join the Legion and pay that membership, that shows us honoring, the veterans. And I know the branch, the 256 branch, we have a veteran who on Saturday, on Remembrance Day, he will be turning 105 years old.
Oh, heavens, how wonderful.
Yeah, I know. It's
Wow.
amazing. Yeah,
Well, happy birthday
no kidding.
to that veteran.
Yeah,
Congratulations on that. Oh my goodness. I want to
yeah.
talk a little bit more about that. But before I do, I'm going to take a quick station identification here because this is my favorite time in the program where I tell people to go get a piece of paper and a pen. so that you can write down some information that we will have for you regarding Carol and what we're talking about today. We're talking about twofold. We're talking a little crafty stuff. We're also talking about Remembrance Day. Carol Breitenbach is my guest. We're going to talk to her a little bit more in just a few moments. But before we do, I also want to remind you that there's lots of stuff that's happening within the community right now. What we know for sure is that there are some upcoming markets that are still happening. There's one going to be on Tuesday, November the 14th at St. Andrew's Hall, and also one on November 25th and 26th at the Cavalotti Lodge. So if you want to go and check out some of Carol's work, she will be at both of those. There's more as well. We'll talk a little bit more about some of the other upcoming ones, but for now, they'll keep those two dates in mind. Also, I do invite you to watch Carol on Act 3. She was one of our most recent guests on our Act 3 television program. You can tune in to Shaw Cable 4 and see us 4 times a day, Vancouver Island wide. So we love it when you tune in. Please do make sure you do. Or you can also find us on our YouTube platform. By all means, like and subscribe. And of course, share. Today's broadcast, among many other broadcasts, will also be found on iHeartRadio and Spotify. So we do appreciate it in any level, however you tune into Act 3, that you continue to do so. I'm Kathy Holmes. I'm your host of Act 3, and I'm very delighted to be integrated in this community. I'm really glad that you tune in every Monday at 1 o'clock to this program. Carol Breitenbach, I hope I got it right, and I are talking about her organization, or it's not an organization, but her, what is it? Is it a little company that you have?
Small
Is it a
business.
small
Yep, small
business? And
business.
when I don't want to say little company or small business, because frankly, it's small businesses, these really wonderful organic businesses that we should be buying everything from at Christmas time, because we are supporting each other in this community. So it's important that we do that. And also because some of the money stays local to some of the local charities as well, and various different vendors, support various different things. So you always know that you're being that you're doing the right thing by shopping at one of these markets. Carol, I want to go back to our conversation about just quickly the Legion, also because Remembrance Day, November 11th, is coming. And I'm curious about membership now to the Legion, because I remember a time when, unless someone from your family or someone who was currently in the forces, that was the only way that people were able to join the Legion. Is that changed? I kind of have heard rumor that the doors have been loosened a little bit. Can you tell us a little about that?
They have been, and probably the easiest way for anybody to get information is contact your local Legion and check into it,
Yeah.
because it's also not only about military, it's first responders as well, is
Oh,
part of that
yes.
group. Yeah, is part of that group as well. So, um, we have RCMP, we have paramedics, we have, all the first responders. So yeah, it's a great organization to be part of, to support. And like I say, the best thing is to contact one of the branches and check out the information and go down. I know our branch is open Wednesday to Saturday, and go down and check out what's available and have dinner. Um, it's open for non-members as well as members. So,
Well, I was recently there as well with some of my dear friends and had a blast. There was a huge, it was a fundraiser for a beer and burger.
mm,
It was awesome, I might tell you. It was fantastic. There was a lot of prizes, tons of door prizes. I sat at a table with, oh, I don't know, there were maybe 5 or 6 of us, I guess, and we won nothing. But lots of people did, and so I think it's important that even though we didn't win anything, it was worth supporting it. It was so much fun. It was a very busy event. A lot of people came to it. So it's, I love any which way we can support our community. Let's go back to the craft stuff for a sec, if you don't mind.
okay.
A moment ago I talked about a couple of dates that are coming up, and so Tuesday, November the 14th at St. Andrew's Hall, and Saturday, November the 5th and November 26th at Cavalotti. Are there, when you go to these markets, is there a fee to get in? Are they by donation to come in? Like, how do people come into the craft fairs?
The one on November 14th and December 12th at the St. Andrew's Church, there is no entry at that one. And we have a variety of vendors coming to that. We actually have a chocolatier that is going to be at the November 14th one that I'm very excited about. So, yeah, we have such a wide range of products available, and that those two markets on November 14th and December 12th run from 2 to 6 p.m. And then November 25th and 26th out at Cavallati Lodge, we will have an entry by donation. So it's not mandatory, but the money raised at the door will be going to the Volunteer Nanaimo Angel Program.
Oh, yes.
And yes, so I'm very excited about that. We're going to have some live entertainment that is going to be two very talented young men that were at the event on Saturday at the Moose Hall, and they are from Volunteer Nanaimo, and they will be playing for us on Saturday and Sunday. So I'm very excited about that. And we're looking at in the process of arranging right now. Volunteer Nanaimo will also be at the door to greet people when they come in on the 25th and 26th. And the times on those two shows are Saturday the 25th, it will be from 10 till 5. And on the 26th, it will be 10 till 4.
Fantastic.
So, yeah, and we've got great lineup of vendors for that event as well. And we have fantastic food. German food will be in the kitchen. They will be running the kitchen there, and which I will then be at their event the following weekend at the German Village Market. So we're all quite interlinked with each other, which I'm absolutely loving, because the more that we can be involved with each other and helping each other out, to me, that's what it's all about. That's where my passion comes from, organizing and putting on events.
Well, and I also love the idea that these two young musicians from Volunteer Nanaimo, they're in there. I can't really age them, but they're not very, they're in their
No,
20s, I want to say.
yeah,
Like, they're young, right? I was listening to the banjo the other day and I was like, oh my gosh,
I
like,
know.
fantastic.
Yeah,
And the cool thing is that Volunteer Nanaimo, I don't know if you know this, but Volunteer Nanaimo, that those two young, or that one gentleman that was there, I think the banjo player, donates his time to teach people that can't afford to learn to play the guitar or other instruments, other string instruments, and he donates his time to teach people how to do that. And
I
I just
know.
think that that is amazing, especially in this day, things have become very expensive for people. It's been very difficult, but these are things that young people need in their lives. It helps them
Yes,
to thrive. And so, anytime that Volunteer Nanaimo sees a need like that, they're very, very big on ensuring that that need gets filled. Rita Inamorati is the executive director at Volunteer Nanaimo, and I just love saying her name. And the
mm-hmm.
Christmas Angels program. She will be coming on in the next few iterations of the show to talk about Christmas Angels. But that's a big deal, like that Christmas Angels program. She has seen a change in the last while, going from like 30 families. She's now, supporting Volunteer Nanaimo Christmas Angel program is supporting close to 1,500 people, maybe 500 families, and she's doing it on her own. I mean, it just not on her own. She's used all the
Yeah,
Christmas Angels are doing this, but this is something that was something she loved to do years ago, and it's just built up, built up, built up, built up, and we can't help but thank the community for all of these kinds of incredible initiatives. So way to go, Volunteer Nanaimo. Have you been involved in the Christmas Angel program before? Is this fairly new for you, or is this something you've been also doing for a long time?
No, this is brand new. Each year that I put my Christmas market on in at the end of November, I like to find somewhere in the community that I can donate the door entry money that's brought in to someone. And it was actually at the Shaw um, review that I ran into Rita because I hadn't seen her for a while. And we reconnected and got talking. And I thought, ah, oh, what a perfect place to have my donations go. It's guaranteed to go back to the community. It's a
Yeah.
wonderful program, and I just love the whole idea behind it. So I have a feeling that's going to be going forward, that anytime I'm doing initiatives, that's what it will be.
I'm delighted to know Rita. I met her on Shaw originally about 7 years ago. I interviewed her for the first time. At the time, I was one of the hosts for the show on Shaw, which, by the way, is coming back. I believe the first taping has recently been done and is showing now. But I met her there, and she was wearing a Santa Claus outfit, perfect for her. Perfect
Yeah.
for her. And the truth of the matter is she has inspired me year after year after year after year. The Christmas Angels program is outstanding. I was the receiver of the Christmas Angel program when I was a child. It was done slightly differently. Yeah.
Yeah.
We were very poor when I was growing up, so I tell my story all the time. It's of no secrets here. Very transparent. We grew up very, very poor. And if it wasn't for the CKNW Orphans Fund, the local fire department, the volunteer angels,
Mm-hmm.
we wouldn't have had a Christmas at all. We had hampers year round. We were, very blessed by the community. So it's always important for me to give back. This is how I do it now. I do it through the
Mm-hmm.
radio, but for years it was, part of doing the collections of things was because I was the recipient, I was the little girl, and I know what it felt like. To this day, I will share with you, Carol, and to anyone who's listening. My first present I remember getting was a little red purse, and inside of the little red purse there was another little clear plastic kind of container, and inside of that container was pretend lipstick and eyeshadow and all that stuff that
Mm-hmm.
little girls love, and
Yeah.
a memory book. And it was like a date year list, not dateless, year list booklet that said, so
Mm-hmm.
if you were born on September 11th, or the 6th of June, or whatever it happened to have been your date, there was a lovely little paragraph that said what a lovely person you are. So you're clever, or you're wise, or you're sweet, or you're kind, or whatever it was.
Yeah.
50 years later, I still have that book. 55 years
Mm-hmm.
later, I still have that book. So
Mm-hmm.
I've never gotten rid of it. I've kept it with me all these years, because it's people like you, Carol, who are gifting the community that make people like me have the opportunity to exist and grow, feeling like I was a member of community and that I was wanted, and that I mattered. Bottom line, that I
Mm-hmm.
mattered. And so paying it forward, and every opportunity that I get to do that, I'm always reminded of the little kid that was, standing there looking up, going, oh my goodness, is that for me? Santa didn't forget
Mm-hmm.
us. Yeah,
Wow.
big, big, huge, huge impact on my life, right?
Yeah.
Salvation Army was very much a big part of that as well. So,
Yeah.
there's some organizations out there that do incredible work and have done that work for 50, 60,
Yes.
70, 80, 100 years. So,
Yeah.
Christmas is my favorite time of the year, Carol. How about you?
It is, for the fact of finding ways to give back. I mean,
Yeah,
that's for me, that's what makes my Christmas. It
yeah,
is being able to do that. And I have a memory from Saturday of, because I know Rita had gone and talked to the two young fellows about me talking to them about my market at the end of the month. And so I let them play for a while, and then they kind of took a short break. And I walked up and I asked them, and they both looked up at me and they just beamed. And it just melted my heart because it was like, wow, to me, that was something so simple, but it just seemed to make them so happy to be asked. And I thought, wow, we never really take the time to realize how small what can be seemingly small to ask somebody to be involved in and be able to give to people, because listening to these two fellows' music was just, it just made my whole day. It just, they are so, so talented. And I really hope people will come out and listen to them, because it certainly made put a smile on a lot of vendors' faces listening to their music. So and being able to make their day that they're going to come. And I thought, wow, this, if I knew it was this easy to make somebody smile, um, it's great.
Well, I'm really glad that you said that because it's very true. It's a simple thing to ask somebody to
Yeah.
do something. What I learned during COVID, especially because, we were, yeah, in my day job, we were really working with an awful lot of older adults specifically,
Yeah.
who were trying to get access to any number of different services because, COVID was tough for everybody.
Yeah.
But for seniors it was particularly
Yeah.
challenging because they just couldn't get out, they weren't getting what they needed, as to the degree that we needed. And so for me that was not the time for me to have time off and clean my closets. It
Right.
was a very, very busy time in trying to build opportunities where agencies could come together and really, really support people. um, but it felt almost like it was Christmas all year round at that point.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Because
Hmm.
it's something so simple as picking up somebody's groceries or just knocking on the door and saying, "Look, I know you can't take visitors right now. I just want you to know that I see you. I noticed your curtains are still closed. Is everything okay?
Hmm.
It's coming wintertime now. It's like, can I shovel your walkway or so that you can get out of your house? Or can I bring the mail in to you?" Or like
Yeah.
something, those tiny, tiny little things. People have a hard time asking for stuff, don't they?
Oh, they do. Yeah, they really, really do. Yeah.
Right. And so because they have such a hard time asking, isn't it lovely when we can say, "Here, let me make
Hmm.
life easy for you. Just can I help and can I support you?"
Yeah.
I particularly love Christmas craft fairs because they always have delicious treats as well.
Oh, yes.
They always have delicious treats. What's your favorite holiday, November, December holiday treat, especially when you go to these fairs yourself?
Probably I would have to say shortbread.
Do you make shortbread as
And
well?
I used to make a lot of shortbread. But I find now being on my own, I either have to give it all away,
Yeah.
if I make it, because otherwise I'll eat it. And I certainly don't need to eat that much shortbread.
I understand entirely that this time of year, the seam of my pants gets a little wider as I go across. Stretchy pants are my new favorite. I mean, that's the one
Yeah,
thing about getting older is we get to comfortably wear stretchy pants and not feel guilty about wearing them. That I think is so
that's right.
important, right? We've earned stretchy pants. I'm in for that. When you go to craft fairs yourself as a shopper, what are some of the things you like to purchase for yourself or for family members? What are things that you like to do at the craft
Um,
markets?
Probably for me, what's more fascinating is to connect with the people. Um, I certainly over the years I've bought a fair amount of jewelry because obviously I love jewelry. Um, but I love having conversations with people and finding out what got you involved, you know, when did you
Mhm.
start doing this? And I'm more fascinated about the background of what they're doing. And I know a lot of vendors in the community. I've gotten to know them over the years. And it doesn't matter to me if somebody's making the same things, types of things I'm making. I'm constantly on Facebook promoting them in their events and promoting them if they're selling something. And I get lots of comments back to me. People saying, "Why do you promote so many different businesses and everything?" And I said, "Because we're all doing the same thing. we're
We're
all
all in this
supporting
together.
local.
Yeah.
Exactly. And to me, the bigger we can become one community, the stronger we become. And it's the support of each other that makes that possible. And I mean, I have to say, yesterday I went to a market and one of the vendors who I've known for a few years, she said, I have something for you that I've been working on for 2 years. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness. And she said, if you don't like it, please don't, you won't hurt my feelings if you want to get rid of it. And when she showed me what it was a hand hooked rug with a gnome holding a little coffee bag that said beans
Oh,
on the front. And I looked at her and my eyes welled up with tears and I said, I will never get rid of this. The fact that somebody took 2 years to make me something. Um, and she's another crafter. And it just warms my heart when things like that happen.
yeah.
Um, and to me, we're one big family.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect segue. Perfect segue. We told people to go get a piece of paper and a pen a little while ago. Now's a great way to promote. How'd you like to tell people how they can find you, your Facebook page, your website, like all that
Yeah.
groovy stuff? Go for it, Carol.
My Facebook page, you can reach me through For You by Us Gifts on Facebook. And you can also email me if you're a vendor interested in looking at going forward, because we will be doing the second Tuesday of every month starting in February. We will be taking January off. Excuse me. But February forward, second Tuesday of every month at St. Andrew's Church. And you can reach me by email at carol dot for you by us at shaw.ca.
Can I get you to say that one more time?
Yeah. Uh, Email is carol dot for you by us at shaw.ca. So it's the number 4. And I'd love to hear from you.
Well, I hope that our listeners will take the time to reach out and come to the fairs. First of all, let's tell them again when those fairs are.
So November 14th
Yep.
is our first fair at St. Andrew's Church on Departure Bay Road, and that's from 2 to 6 p.m. And then on November 25th and 26th, we'll be at Cavalati Lodge on East Wellington Road, and we'll be there Saturday the 25th from 10 till 5 and Sunday from 10 till 4.
Perfection. So, in saying that, for our YouTube watchers, I will make sure that the list is on the actual on the scripting part of it. So just zoom down and take a little peek there. Otherwise, by all means, reach out to Carol at For You by Us. Carol dot for you by us at shaw.ca, and you can find out more about all the wonderful things she makes. I have to tell you, I really like those flowers. They're so pretty.
Thank
The little
you.
canvases. I really also love the cards. And of course, my friends will be receiving some of those cards this year. I'm curious about, the card making thing too. Like do you find, where do you get your inspiration for your cards? Because I noticed you had such a different, like there were so many different kinds. Like, what that in itself is an industry of its own.
Oh, very much so. And interestingly, there is a story behind the cards initially. I was going through some personal situations one year, and I had been invited to Christmas at various people's homes. And I woke up on Boxing Day and thought, I just can't do another. I just needed some space and time for myself. So Boxing Day morning, I got up and I started my own little process of deciding to put together cards. And I quit on New Year's morning or New Year's Eve morning, because I had made a commitment that I would go up island to visit some friends, and came to the realization I had put together over 500 cards
Oh my goodness. In that short period of time.
in that short time. But
Oh,
I was going pretty much around the clock. I was on my own little mission. And so I created all these cards. And anybody that knows me very well knows I don't like to replicate things.
yeah.
Um, Most of the pieces that I make, whether it's the gnome, um, wine bags, to a lot of my cards, they're one of a kind. I won't replicate. And so each thing that you get is a unique piece from me. And so I had all these cards. And ironically, on Saturday, people were, well, you don't seem to have any Christmas cards. And of course, I had totally forgotten to bring any Christmas cards. So I've told people starting on November 14th, I will make sure I have Christmas cards.
I have to
So,
tell you that to me, cards are the most wonderful thing ever. I understand, there for me, there's nothing more lovely than getting a card in the mail
yes,
because we don't do it anymore. It's
we
everything is
don't.
text, everything is,
Yeah,
here's an animated thing on, whatever. And so we don't get them. But I love making them. I love sending them. I love
yeah,
receiving them. I love buying them. There's just something wonderful about cards, I think,
yeah.
that are, yeah.
Well,
Listen, we're just, go
yeah.
ahead.
Oh, I was just going to say, yeah, the other thing about my cards that's a little bit different is they're all blank inside. And the
Mm,
reason for that was I could never seem to find a card that had what I really wanted to say to people. So I
yeah.
love the idea of a blank card so that you can write your message to whoever you're wanting it to go to.
Absolutely. And you know
Yeah.
what? I think it's the personal messages that make all the difference in the world too,
Oh,
right?
absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. When I buy
Absolutely.
cards, I try to buy for the person. I don't
Yes.
always find it easy. And I also find that cards now, commercial cards, the hallmarks, right? The commercial cards,
Yeah.
they are so expensive now. They're almost
Mm-hmm.
$10 for a card.
Yeah.
So buying a handmade gift for a fraction of that is
Yeah.
really, it's such an important thing to be able to do to support local artists as well, because the pieces, like you said, they're so unique and individual. And how
Yeah.
therapeutic, though, to make 500 of them over a week. Like that would have been like what a riot that is, I have to say. We're winding down to the end of the program, which always makes me sad because I love spending time with my friends and I love spending time with all of our listeners. So I just want to thank you, Carol, for being here. Before we jump off, though, of course, there is the life lesson and the piece of wisdom. And so we'll get to that in a couple moments. But before we do, I just want to shout out one more time. Hey, you guys, you need to be at a craft fair this weekend and you need to go and buy a poppy. How can people get their poppies now? They're still at the mall? People are still wandering around with the tins. How long before when do they leave? Is that like on Remembrance Day itself is the last day? Or how does that
Yeah,
work?
actually, the mall locations, like our branch there are locations all over town. As I say,
Okay.
there's three legions, so various locations around town. Ours are at the Country Club Mall, Canadian Tire, and out in front of London Drugs in the mall.
Right on.
And those will be available until Friday at 4 is when that's finished. And there's various businesses in and around town that have the poppy tins as well.
So make sure you get your poppy or 12. It's important. If
Yeah.
you lose them off your sweater or you have one for every sweater and every jacket, that's okay too. All the money's going to the right place. So let's make sure we do that. And I just want to clarify too. I believe that my friend Laurel Semple actually did the painting on the outside
Yeah.
of that Legion, 256 Branch Legion. What an extraordinary
Oh,
piece of art that she
beautiful.
partner have done. And her, I mean, just if you haven't seen the art on the Legion now, it is, I think she's done. Stunning, stunning, stunning. Congratulations to such a beautiful, beautiful piece of art. So make sure you get your poppy before 4 o'clock on Friday. And okay, I take a breath because it makes me cry. We're almost done for the day. Tell us a little bit about your takeaway moment. If you could imbibe on our community something that you've learned over your experience in crafting or through For You by Us or through your recent time with the Legion and your recent time with Volunteer Nanaimo Angels, um, what would that look like for you?
I think it's, excuse me, it's a matter of um, just reflecting how lucky we are for the people that come into our lives. I have been so grateful. Like very many people, I have lost over the last few years, friends and family members, and reflect that, um, enjoy the fact that they were in your life and
Yeah.
enjoy the fact of the people that are in your life on a daily basis, weekly basis, monthly basis. Um, just enjoy. And through my crafts, it has gained me lifelong friendships that I know that will go on. And I am every day grateful for those.
Well, and I also think it's so wonderful that you stepped outside of your boundaries. Like when you first started doing this, you probably didn't imagine that you would have a growing cottage business and that you would be doing this. And so just to see your life transform in its own way, going down and meeting all these people has been like, that is just the coolest thing ever. So
No,
thank
it's,
you.
thank you. I am very honored to be part of your little community as well.
Well, I'm delighted that you're part of the community and I'm delighted that you're my friend. I'm so, I've known you for quite a long time. I mean, we pass circles in many different ways over time. And so, just to be able to hang out and have this conversation has been just wonderful. And I hope our listeners have enjoyed it too. Tell us one last time how people can find you and what the dates are, and we'll take it from there.
So you can reach me through Facebook at For You by Us Gifts. And you can also reach me on Instagram as well through that. And you can email me at carol.foryoubus@shaw.ca. And I look forward to seeing people at our markets on November 14th and December 12th at St. Andrew's Church in the Hall, and on November 25th and 26th at Cavalletti Lodge.
And the German Club as well. You've got something happening on December 1st, 2nd, and Sunday, December 3rd at the German
Yes,
Club.
yes,
Yahoo! She's out
yes.
there. She's out and about. She's got this. Hey, listen, everybody, that does it for this episode of Act Three. Always delighted that you're with us. And I do encourage you over the next little while when you're thinking about gifts for family and friends, remember the little girls and boys that may not have anything at all this holiday season. And so now's a really good time to start thinking about where you'd like to put some of your time in volunteering or some of your dollars. Currency is different to everybody. It does not mean you have to put money in. It might mean that you donate an hour or two to a cause that is important to you. My good friend Carol has done herself that by volunteering with Volunteer Nanaimo and with the Legion and other things. And she's a great example of what volunteering looks like in our community. Think about it. If you have the time, it's maybe just something you want to do. That does it for our episode today. Have a wonderful week, everybody. We'll see you next time on Act 3.